Before we get started, we've got something to mention. The Berthon International YouTube channel is a big part of how we represent our fleet. It's updated regularly with walkthroughs, sea trials and conversations with interesting people from across our industry. It's a straightforward way to get a proper feel for the yachts we have for sale, wherever you are, and to shortlist before stepping on board. It gives you a proper sense of the boats without ever having to be there in person. You can find it by searching Berthon International on YouTube. We'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Hugh Rayner from Berthon International, and I'm joined by Ben Hitchen, and we are here to regale you of May's insights in our yacht sales sector. So this is a monthly look into what we think is hot and what's not during the year. And we have to confess that we didn't press record on the one that we did last week. So this will be slightly secondhand, but we'll give it as best a go as we can for you. So our feeling is that we've had some absolutely cracking weather here in the UK over the last week. It has been heatwave-tastic, and certainly that has led to steadier and certainly a much more positive tone across a lot of our offices. The boys up in Sweden are super busy at their desks on listings as well as boat sales. I've been here working in the office over this weekend, and yesterday was wall-to-wall viewings, which was brilliant. But what we're finding here is that the larger yacht market sector is moving a little bit more cautiously. There is a lot of really encouraging activity across our sort of core brokerage space, but the boats still have to be well presented yachts and realistically priced for the market. So across the UK, Scandinavia, Spain and the USA, buyers are remaining selective in what they're looking at, but the serious clients that are there are still making decisions when the right yacht comes to the market. So, Ben, do you want to go with insight number one for May?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing a resilience in the brokerage market, particularly between 300,000 and 400,000 euros. Looking mostly at the well-regarded cruising yachts of the Rassys and Sweden yachts, Southerlies, and so on. For me personally, there's been a decent amount of interest in the two Bowmans that we've listed. One's going under offer quite quickly, and the other one, viewing, which is quite nice to see. There's obviously that demand for those well-regarded quality boats, even if they are slightly older. And generally with the heat wave, definitely viewings have increased. A lot more walk-ins, which is nice to see. A lot more inquiries coming through. I don't know, for me anyway, it'd been a little bit quiet until about two or 3 weeks ago when it's really started to pick up, which has been really nice to see. I think, as you say, Scandinavia is getting lots of listings going on, lots of traction happening over there, which seems to be a bit of a pattern of the year so far, really. They seem to always be quite strong when sometimes it's been a little bit quieter over this side of the pond.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think certainly I look after the sort of the motor yacht side of it over here, and we've had 2 completions in the last week. One of them was quite protracted, was long term, but was a very defined kind of class of boat with an owner moving out of his sailboat into a motorboat, slightly different reasons, family, etc., etc. But yeah, certainly a lot more market activity. And today I've had 2 good listing inquiries. One on a 60-foot boat and one on a 45-foot boat. So there's a bit more coming through the door. And I think generally talking to other guys who are out in the brokerage industry, it's been relatively quiet. The customer has very high demands on their expectations on what they get from the boat, from the service, from the brokerage, all the rest of it. So it's very much being at the top of your game. Making sure that the boats are really well presented and correctly priced as much as possible. And certainly these small price corrections that I'm dropping in, certainly on the last 2 boats that we've corrected over the last 4 or 5 days, have resulted in direct inquiries on that. So point 2 kind of deals with this. So this is our second insight for this month, that good listings are still in relatively short supply across the board, and certainly looking at other kind of brokerage websites and all the rest of it. You can see that UK-wide, and whilst the Scandi market is certainly seeing a bit more activity, they need to be listing boats to be able to satisfy that demand. So this means that the spotlight is on those well-presented boats that are coming quickly to the market. Everyone's got their pings on their desktops for when your new Southerly Discovery 55 or whatever comes on. But owners are being, relatively realistic on pricing and presentation, and need to be to make their boats kind of stand out against the rest of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also seeing kind of on the other side of purchasers, they're being, very specific about condition and what they're looking for. Pricing has to be right to get those inquiries in the first place. They're getting better traction when pricing is, spot on, whereas even slightly overpriced boats are getting very minimal interest at all. So condition being presented well and priced accordingly is kind of what's driving really good inquiries. But anything that's maybe looking a little bit scraggy or might be slightly overpriced, understandably it is sitting a little bit at the moment.
Sure. And kind of point 4 that we've looked at is that the large yacht market, there's this real sweet spot in the middle at the moment of that sort of 45 to kind of 55 foot mark is pretty good. You've got that Bowman going through at the moment. I've had a really nice botany. I've got a good inquiry here on a 65 that we've got here at the moment. But above that, the market is quite febrile. It's quite challenging. Still getting kind of inquiries on stuff, but there are a few serious buyers, it appears to us at the moment, in that market. And definitely looking at what's kind of gone through the books recently, there's a slow conversion rate at that top end of the market too.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Sweden and the Scandinavian market, I mean, they continue to provide some really positive signals with a really healthy level of activity, with new listings coming on, steady sales. The strongest activity remains centred around practical cruising yachts rather than luxury projects. It's kind of more functional boats seem to be the most of interest, going back to your Rassys, your Southerlies and so on. Maybe less of the extreme kind of more modern style boats, and a little bit more of that function and build quality that people are looking for.
I think that reflects both the sales side and certainly is what we're seeing on the motor stuff at the moment, the kind of the heavier built, slightly better depreciated, slightly older boats. I was on that lovely Bowman that you mentioned yesterday, and she is absolutely fantastic for what is a nigh on kind of, I guess, coming up 30-year-old boat. She is in phenomenal nick. And certainly last week I was out on an Aquastar, one of our bigger sort of listings there. We've got a beautiful 57 down there. Guy looking at the boat wants to take it around the UK. It was designed and built for its first owner, who was a really experienced guy who wanted to do exactly the same thing. So it's quite a lot of serendipity in the market. I mean, certainly from my point of view, big increase in number of viewings, pretty good follow-up conversations. We've had an offer in this morning, which is pretty close. And I think a lot of buyers have kind of been looking at the market, thinking it's a bit flat and all the rest of it, and a bit of energy coming through from the better weather and all the rest of it, he says, looking out as the rain starts to fall, has kind of projected a bit more interest in the market. Certainly we've seen an increase in completed transactions, and it feels a little bit more active than earlier in the spring when it was a little bit more quiet. So there's a sense generally that serious buyers are out there. When the yachts are priced accordingly, when they're presented accordingly, and when the vendors are realistic and ready to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overall, the market continues to reward realism, really. Buyers are around. I'd say, at least on my end, there's a lot of inquiries happening. Not a lot of, that turning into offers at the moment. Definitely an increase, but still, slightly slower on that front. But yeah, overall, well presented again. Core cruising yachts. are kind of the boat of attention at the moment.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how we go through over the next kind of 2 to 3 months, as a lot of people have kind of done their buying for the season. But it's certainly the guys that were in yesterday, one of them had recently sold. There are a lot of people still out there doing their research with boats that are still on the market, and their boats are holding them back from making those forward offers. So hopefully with a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more energy in the market, those boats are going to move. That unlocks the boats that we're working with them on here, and it's, you know, the great merry-go-round of the market. So it's interesting times. You know, this is May. We'll see how we go through into June. Certainly, you know, beginning of the month we had the Palmer Boat Show. It's a pretty good indicator of what's happening in the market, and I think it was fairly quiet generally. So a lot of brokers out there, a lot of people showing product, not as many buyers out there. Talking to the finance houses that are there at the moment, they're relatively slow for the time of year. But you know, it's a market economy. It all depends on how people are feeling and what's out there to buy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we had the Blue Water Cruising event here a couple of weekends ago, which is basically a number of boats who've done the ARC come down, owners on board, and it's a day of talks with people that have done the ARC, looking at doing the ARC, and looking at kind of blue water cruising boats. And while I do think the numbers were slightly down on previous years, I did get a really positive feeling from everyone I was talking to. Some really serious inquiries and people interested in doing these things, which is really nice to see. I mean, and on top of that, I'm having a lot of inquiries at the moment from people who have been out of boating for quite a while, and actually are now starting to come back into it. So I know a chap I've been speaking to about purchasing a boat. He's been out the boating kind of world for 13 years, and he's like, you know, life's kind of lined up now, and I really want to get back into it when the weather's like it has been, or even last year. What a good year we had. Yeah, I do think there is some optimism in that, and it's nice to see people getting back into it or into it for the first time. There's a few of them going around as well for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the last couple of deals that we've done. One, yeah, coming out of a sailboat. The other guys, you know, first motorboat. Let's go and enjoy it and see what's out there. And as long as we can offer that choice and all the rest of it and do it fairly proficiently, hopefully people will keep going boating.
That's what we need, along with more sun.
Going. Anyway, I hope that's useful for you. That's our May Insights. We'll join you again soon for June.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All the best. Cheers. Bye. Oh, so much easier second time round.
Yeah, I was going to say that one quite a bit better than the last one, I think.
Before we wrap up, just a quick note. If anything we're discussing in this episode is relevant to you, whether you're buying or selling, the Berthon team is always available to talk things through. With offices across the UK, Europe and the US, we're able to give a clear view of what's actually happening in the market. You can find out more via the Berthon website. Good to have you with us, and we'll see you next time.